the framework of the law to ensure that we actually respond to what refugees want. And so what we have been doing is we have recently conducted a research project just that sought to establish whether refugees actually would be interested in applying for citizenship in Kenya, and also what has been the experience when they do seek applications for citizenship or permanent residence, and also when they do apply for work permits. And I think just on a preliminary point of the findings that we have found, which were pretty interesting, is that a number of refugees were not really keen on applying for Kenyan citizenship, mainly because possibly of them losing opportunities for resettlement, for example, where resettlement here is resettlement to third countries that are, within the developed world. And also the other thing is, when you do apply for citizenship, it means you're also socially relinquishing your own nationality. And most of us would still have an attachment towards our own nationality. And the other interesting thing that we did discover from this particular research is just the difficulties that refugees who wish to, for example, apply for permanent residence, are unable to do so because, not that the law does not allow it, but there are so many administrative barriers that exist within the government sphere to access prerequisites for permanent residence. So, for example, access to work permits. How long will an application for a work permit take, and whether you will ever get a response from the Director of Immigration on your application for work permits. So we are finding that even when it comes to really implementing the provisions around integration within the new Refugee Act, that there's quite a number of administrative barriers that refugees have to really overcome. The other interesting issue also related to just the understanding of refugees on what citizenship here means. And we found that if most would say, okay, I wouldn't mind getting a Kenyan ID just to be able to access services. As my colleague here, Damaris, has mentioned, the refugee certificate in itself is not very much recognized by banking institutions and a number of other institutions. So having a Kenyan ID kind of opens up the space for broader rights. And so that acquisition of a Kenyan ID, whether it is done lawfully or unlawfully, is really seen as an entry point to access broader rights that we should actually be able to provide to refugees within, even with the refugee certificate.
Okay, all right, thank you. Rosalie, I'm going to come to you in a moment, but we've got to take